Welcome once again. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope today's message will help heal and serve. So today is a little different. I've already pulled our daily collective conscious message. The video is up and posted. This is another video I'm doing, something a little different. And if this is of interest, I will do this on a regular basis. One of the things that's happening, especially if you are in Canada, and I know this seems to be a lot, I've heard and seen a lot of postings that all around the world, censorship is really intruding on our lifestyle. And I was talking to some of my friends and I mentioned things that are happening and no one seems to know what is happening. No one has any clue because our censorship is so bad in Canada. No one knows. We know of the big Nazi recognition by our parliament and how our speaker has resigned, but Trudeau will not resign. So that's about that. And then you might have heard about the Indian scandal and the terrorists being killed in Canada. And now we're kind of at a WAR with India. That's what it really looks like. But there's a whole lot of other things going on. So I wanted to highlight a few of the things that are also going on specifically here in Canada. So let's bring up, I follow LifeSite News because they give a lot of good opinions on things. Whether I completely agree with them or not, they're an alternative media and they show a lot of things of what is going on. So I'm going to bring up my phone here. Let's look at some of the stories. The first one, globalist would rather work under the cover of darkness. So that's really them trying to hide. So one of the things on that first article, and this is something that has come out about the standing ovation with the Nazis, is that I guess the parliament right after that had happened, which was the previous Friday, so today is Thursday, so this would have been the Friday before, was after that happened and they realized he was Nazi, they were trying to go through all the film, like the CPAC film and all the stuff in Parliament, to remove it. They wanted to remove the standing ovations like it didn't ever happen. I'm blinking. So that's our first one there. That's interesting. Then we've got the next one. Trudeau's government admits mainstream media bailouts aren't enough to save our failing industry. So clearly the censorship and the propaganda from the mainstream media, people aren't watching it because they know they're not getting the truth. So the solution as per the Trudeau government and in this article is to continue funding them. Continue giving them money. They produced no new jobs. Any jobs that they produced were under the funding they received. I feel like anything else, if this was not a crown corporation, should just be let to die and burn and the corporation just be gone. Let's continue. Canadian Catholic school trustee silenced. Forced to undergo sensitivity training for opposing LGB agenda. So this lady, I believe she's actually in Red Deer in Alberta, which is the province I'm in. And that lady spoke out. And actually, I believe what she actually did is posted on Twitter, or I guess it'd be X now, that a picture of them wearing, like, it was comparing to the Holocaust and was like, don't go after our kids, something like that. And now she's essentially going to be forced into re-education camp. Isn't that wonderful? Then we have here that charges were dropped against a Freedom Convoy protester after he donated $500 to a cat shelter. And that is in Ontario. Well, isn't that lovely? We still have political prisoners from the Coots Convoy where it looks like the RCMP implanted guns on them. They've never seen the light of day. They still are in jail from February of 2022. We are now at the end of September of 2023. But this guy gave a $500 donation and he's all free. I'm glad he's free, but is it that easy? I don't know. Then we've got the Canadian House Committee is unanimously votes to investigate the plagued Trudeau scandal, investigate scandal-plagued Trudeau Foundation. Now, I don't even know if I believe it, because every investigation we've had, if you live in Canada, you've literally seen biased people that are family, friends of Trudeau making this judgment. That makes no sense. So maybe we're lucking out that we're eventually going to get some third party to investigate. That's neutral. I have no idea. And then we have, of course, thousands of Canadians sign a petition supporting parental rights. And then, of course, here's a great one. Canada Post accuses spying on their citizens through their mail sharing information. So just in case you didn't know, they're tracking your packages, they're reporting who you buy things from, your confidential information. They're literally just giving it to the government because the government is spying on you at every moment. Don't forget. So those are just a few of the things that are happening here in Canada. And it's quite insane what is actually happening. It's really insane. And then, of course, we still have, Nazis being recognized in our parliament. And what's really ironic, if you haven't heard me talk about this Nazi situation, is that he was recognized as being such a good person in the community. He was recognized by media before, was glorified. I wonder, and this is the biggest question of that, how many Nazis are hiding in plain sight in Canada and have political power and pull? That would explain a lot as to why the last 3 years really reflected Nazi Germany. Because Project Paperclip, did they not just do a movie about this? That it's not a conspiracy. After World War II, they recruited and brought over many Nazis and let them come into our societies. It's no different in Canada. Our Christine Freeland, who I believe is like the financial person, whatever her role is, like this is how much I care not about it. Her grandfather was a Nazi and completely tied to Soros. And she's best buddies with this person. Just saying, it's a little, dystopian when you look outside at what is going on. So that just highlights just a few of the things that no one is hearing about, not in Canada. You're not seeing this on the mainstream media. You're not seeing that, they were trying to hide that they, stood up and praised a Nazi, that they can't fix the mainstream media. There's not enough money. And I'm saying if it was a successful company, other companies would be investing in advertisements there. We've got re-education, so not just for Jordan Peterson, but now for this school board trustee that's against the LGBT trans thing on children. But then we have good news. Charges dropped because he donated $500. But it just makes me wonder, what about these people in Coots? And then, oh yes, again, could this be good news? But again, we just have to sit here and go, sure, I'll believe we get actual investigation and actual all of that when I see it. And then, of course, we've got lots of people upset about the shit that's going on in school. And then, Canada Post is spying on you, just on top of everything else, because, everything that's owned by the government. One thing, a lot of other things, this is another one, not a recent news story, but something else that I've recently read and came across was that in the last 3 years, there is actually, so how our banking system works, we have the banks, all these institutions that have to follow these regulations and stuff. Well, there's actually a department within our federal government where you can complain if you think things are shady with your finance, with what's going on at your bank. There has been over, I think it was like 21,000 complaints in the last 3 years. Not one of them was followed up by this investigation inquiry. So they get millions of dollars a year and they do nothing. So it's literally the facade that they're there to work for you. This is what I'm realizing. It's all of our government is a facade. They put somebody in place like they're going to do something, but they're not actually doing anything. Well, they steal your tax money, steal your money, also threaten to put in a tax for groceries, because we also have simultaneously that our crime minister is promising that, if he can't work out the cost of groceries with the grocery stores and CEOs, well, he might have to put a government sales tax on our food as well, because that's going to show those CEOs. It's pretty freaking dystopian. And I'm going to say, if this was a functioning corporation, every single one of these people would be fired and out on their ass and not hireable in any other industry, because they literally demolished and have bankrupted this corporation. There is no money left. There's none. That is also why the CRA has the power to file your taxes for you. Isn't that nice? Their whole goal is to steal as much money as they can for all these illegal things, funding Ukraine, giving Zelensky money, continuing pushing money into our dead corporations that are not fiscally financial. it's unethical, it's robbery, and all I see is evilness. And like I feel like every one of us citizens are little rocks that they're just sitting there squeezing to steal blood out of the rocks. They're squeezing as hard as they can. So on that dystopian note, I have pulled some cards. So I wanted to find out, as we learn about what is going on, because we keep our ear open, we want to know and be aware. We don't want to be obsessed with it, but knowing what's going on is important for us to choose what we're going to do going forward. So I put out, what is the best strategy for us with knowing the stuff we know as we start to go through and learn about actual news, things that's actually happening. You're not going to hear it unless you go hunting for it, especially in Canada. What is our strategy? So let's find out what our guides are recommending for us. So now that we know, we're becoming aware, what is our strategy? First card, empathetic starseeds, energetic sovereignty, absorbing what's not yours. The second card, the courageous peony, multifaceted, unique nature, let yourself be seen. And our third card, Star Keeper, cosmic ancestors see the light by staying grounded. So what this is saying, this is actually a really great message today. So with the empathetic starseeds, starting here over on the left, energetic sovereignty. I've been meditating a whole lot on being a sovereign being. So this is all about energetic sovereignty and absorbing what's not ours. So empathetic starseeds are here to shift the world through their physical presence alone. They don't need to do anything beyond being here thanks to the energetic change their physical presence causes. Due to their highly sensitive nature, empathic starseeds can struggle with being on Earth and in the physical body. Many are prone to addiction and depression or tend to mistake other people's feelings and moods as their own. Natural introverts, they tend to prefer time alone or in small groups. Crowds can be overwhelming. So this card is really telling us to consider lightening our load. Don't put ourselves under pressure and be gentle. And this is a phase that we're going through and simply how you're being called to live your life. So really, it's saying we are needing to choose to be sovereign beings. We don't need to get tied up into this energy. We don't have to be yelling and screaming from the top of the buildings. Just us existing and knowing this information changes everything. So just being here, listening and learning any of this stuff changes everything. And if your work involves giving to others, you're also being called to keep something to yourself. So don't give all away in this. Make sure you're still taking care of your energy, that you don't get lost in the BS of this insanity. Then we come here to the courageous peony. It's multifaceted, unique nature. Let yourself be seen. It's time to open to being seen. Time to share your incredible, multifaceted, true nature with the world. To uncover and reveal your soul's greatest gifts without wavering. So really, to own our uniqueness without apology, the flower of this planet holds the same qualities that your soul is ready itself to express. Let it inform you. So at first you may feel uncomfortable and you may be afraid of what others think. But by each passing day, it does become easier. Little by little, you realize that it draws in those who are meant for you and experiences you've been longing to arrive at your feet. So this is just telling us we need to be courageous. So we might want to not be obsessed, but we need to talk about this. We need to talk about it. We need to bring the facts. We need to bring people to the information so they can know it. And even if we're scared of talking about these things and these conspiracies that are literally becoming truths every day, we need to spread it. And the more we spread it, we are going to attract those people that want to hear it from us. But we're not screaming until at the top of the lungs. We are becoming our own sovereign beings. And through that energetic process, we are becoming that courageous peony, and it's going to attract the people that we can help heal and serve with the information that we come across. And then we come to the Star Keeper. And this is the cosmic ancestors seed the light by staying grounded. The more grounded you remain during this transitional period, the more helpful you'll be. The more you tend to the flames of your own heart, the more you'll anchor onto this planet. The wisdom of the stars is imprinted in your soul. The more soul fragrance you call home, the more the wisdom is seated here. So this one's really telling us that we know this information. We're the ones that are going to spread it. We need to stay grounded. We have to stay grounded. We have to be here as an example. As an example of what a sovereign being is. We all have to step up into our sovereign, energetic being. Make sure we're courageous, that we can share this truth, spread it, help awaken the rest of Canada and the rest of the world, because our things might be just slightly different. It's happening everywhere. And we're the Star Keeper. We are here for this time. We are here to anchor the light. Or to anchor and seed our light in a unique way. The survival of the earth and all its species is coming to head. That is what they're saying. The survival of us is coming to head. That is where we're going. But if we stay grounded, we get into that sovereign state, and we're courageous and we share this information and we stay grounded, we're going to be a pillar to bring in the beauty of what is to come. Because all this chaos, as I've pulled, if you've been following me for a while, we keep pulling that the light, the darkness can't exist without the light, and the light is shining bright. We're going through a change of times of where the light is becoming so bright that it's shining on all these problems that are becoming crystal clear, like how many Nazis really have influence in our government? How many Chinese have influence in our government of Canada? That is a whole other thing, previous information that's come out over the last 2 years. And then how many terrorists do we also harbor and support and maybe even give government benefits to? So this is what we're being advised. You knowing what you need to know, knowing what you know, you need to become that sovereign, empathic starseed. Become courageous, do not be scared, and ground yourself in that truth, because we need to be the pillars to bring in this knowledge. Cliff High has said, this is now something in his recent video this week. He's on Substack. He's under Ethereum Pirate. I highly recommend you follow him, and he puts out these they're audios, 2 audios usually on a Wednesday for when he's driving into town. And he's talking about something that I truly believe, and I had heard early on in my awakening process, that we were going to be up-leveled by strange rays from space, essentially. That they're from our galactic sun, from the part of the universe that we're traveling through, we are going to be upgraded, and there's going to be this mass upgrade. He's never talked about it. And he just brought this up, that he is sure that's what we're going through. We've already started to be upgraded. And he's sure that our psychic abilities are going crazy. If you've been working on your spiritual connection, your ability to be intuitive, your ability to trust your instincts, you're leveling up hardcore. If you haven't, you're still leveling up. You're just not going to really understand why everybody's in sync. And one of the things he brought up about us becoming all very in tuned as humanity was the idea of men all recently thinking about Rome. Really weird, because I started coming across these TikToks that were on YouTube, because I'm not actually on TikTok, but like a YouTube clip. And it was somebody about what men think about. And it was like, she's like, oh, the woman's like, oh, he's probably thinking about other girls. And he's actually thinking about Rome. And then it was romaine lettuce named after the Roman emperor. And then Caesar salad and the Caesar dressing. And he's going into this Roman. And I thought it was kind of funny, but I didn't realize that that's something that's been coming up. A lot of people started talking about that. They were all thinking about this subject. So that's really exciting, because we are a collective consciousness. And are we connecting? Because we had a geomagnetic storm about a week ago, a little over a week ago, and it was intense. And I remember talking to my ladies in my yoga class about how intense it was. I struggled that entire day. It was so heavy. It felt heavy. And then it was like night, and I was like, whoa, I got all this energy. And I'm like, why am I feeling so suddenly energized and good? Because now I'm ready to go to bed. And I came across somebody I followed who was posting that we were in the middle of a geomagnetic storm, and it was a crazy one. And I'm sure those add to our antennas just going wild. So we are becoming these psychic, empathic star seeds. We can touch that courageous part, and we are going to be the star keeper. We are going to ground it, and we can manifest. They are so scared of us being able to manifest our reality, and we are so powerful, and that's why it seems so heavy. So I hope today this message helps, heals, and serve you, and that this gives you something to think about. Try following some alternative media if you're not. Try to find some alternatives, even if you don't necessarily agree with what they always say. It's good to see from the other perspective, because if you're following mainstream media, first off, nothing's being shown because everything's being censored. And second of all, they're not talking about any of this stuff. They're not. They're not pushing for it. They're paid to push the information so they get their paycheck from their enslaver. So we are going to this point where we need to look and awaken in a different way. I hope today's news, informations, and updates give you something to think about, and that you know what you're being called to do. Have a beautiful day. Namaste.